Hey, good morning, YouTube. I'm gonna try to make this a very quick video. I have a friend of mine that called me and she is interested in the detergent that I use. Now I make this detergent, I don't know, maybe twice a year, maybe, because I make 5-gallon buckets. I use a liquid because liquid is actually better for your septic tank versus a powder. So if you have a septic tank and you, of course, everybody uses detergent, think about that because a liquid is a lot easier on your septic tank. Now, making laundry detergent is a very simple process, and so I'm going to try to whiz through this. I'll be cutting in and out just to kind of move it along. But the items that you will need are borax, washing soda. You need a soap. Now, there are 2 types of soap that you can get, and I hope I say this right. Fels Naphtha. This is typically the soap that I like, but it's just a preference. There's not a right or wrong. And the other one is Zoot. Now, the Zoot soap comes in pink or white. It does not matter which one you get. Just make sure you have a bar of soap. And the other thing you're going to need is a grater. And the grater is to grate the soap. Now, you can do that in a food processor. And don't freak out just because it's soap, because it's soap. You can wash it out of your food processor when you're done, and it's just like washing it up really good. But I just tend to do it by hand just because I don't use a lot of electrical stuff. The thing that's on this table that I wanted to show you is this. This is something that I typically get at like a pool supply store if it goes on sale, or a lot of times I'll get it from Home Depot. This is actually washing soda. If you look at washing soda, if you pick up that box in Walmart and you see the actual ingredients, washing soda is nothing but, where is it on here? I know I saw it. It is sodium carbonate. That's all washing soda is. Well, guess what? That's what people put in their pools. And sometimes, depending on the fluctuation in the price, because of all that nice little packaging, you are better off buying sodium carbonate at Walmart, or I'm sorry, not Walmart, but at Home Depot in the pool section. I buy it in bulk because I keep it, but I bought this one just for the demonstration for folks who don't keep as much, because I actually use this around my house to do other things. I make other items with it, so I tend to keep it in bulk. So the first thing that you're going to do, and I'm going to move all this to the side. The first thing you're going to do is to grate that soap. And you literally just grate it. It's not that big of a deal. It comes out really nice and fine. And I'm going to bring this closer to you. It comes out nice and fine. And so that is the first thing you're going to do. It's just to grate the soap. And before I forget, you need a 5-gallon bucket. You have to have a 5-gallon bucket with a lid. Walmart has 2 types of lids. Not Walmart. I keep saying that. Home Depot has 2 types of lids. They have the lids that screw on, and then they have the lids that press on. For your sanity, I encourage you to get the lid that presses on. It's a lot easier to take on and off. I'm just used to taking off the other one, so it doesn't bother me which one I get. But for most people, it's easier to get the press-on lid. It serves the purpose, and it does just as well. So I'm going to move to my stove, and we're going to keep this moving, and I'm going to show you how I make laundry detergent. Okay, the next thing you want to do is that you want to take 4 cups of water and you want to put that in a pan or a pot. I just happen to use this pot because it's always out here. And you want to warm that up on your burner. You don't want to necessarily boil it, but you do want it to be warm. And once you have it nice and warm, you're going to add your grated soap to it. Now, once you add that grated soap, and I'm going to go up, that grated soap is going to begin to melt. And of course, it's not going to all melt at the same time, but you want to stir this until everything is melted down nice and, till you can't see any clumps. So don't rush this. Do not boil your water, but keep it nice and warm, maybe like a simmer perhaps, and just keep stirring. And I mean, you don't have to stir constantly. You can kind of walk away and come back and check on it. but this actually does happen pretty fast. So go ahead and melt your soap that you have grated up in 4 cups of water. And I will be back with the next step once I have this all nicely, and I'll show you what it looks like once everything has melted. Okay, the soap is all melted. As you'll see when I stir, you don't see any clumps or lumps in there. Everything is nice and smooth. Now, the next thing you want to do, and actually you can, I hope that you watch the video in its entirety before you start. But what you can do is, like, towards the end of you warming this up and getting rid of all those lumps and making it smooth, start filling up your 5-gallon bucket. You want to fill it up halfway with hot water. Hot tap water is fine. It's not that big of a deal. Just go to your tap, the hottest water it'll give you, and fill your bucket up about halfway. And then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, now that your soap is melted and you have filled your 5-gallon bucket up halfway with hot water, and like I said, tap water is fine. The next thing you want to do is you want to add the borax and the washing soda. You want 1 cup of washing soda, and my original recipe called for half a cup of borax, but I actually like to use 1 cup. So I'm going to tell you how I do it. I use 1 cup of washing soda and 1 cup of borax, and I add that into the 5-gallon bucket that's half full of hot water. Okay, once I've dumped those in, I stir it up to dissolve it. And once I have stirred this up and everything is dissolved, I will go ahead and add the soap that was also melted. Okay, so everything is dissolved. I'm going to go ahead and pour in that soap that we melted on the burner. And then I'm going to stir that up also. Now, I have heard of people using different types of soap. I recently read that a lady used Irish Spring soap because she liked the way it smelled. I've read people use Ivory soap. I actually make soap, so I've made Castile soap to actually make my detergent, which, I mean, that turned out pretty good. But I don't know, I have a preference for this this particular soap that I'm using. Although I have used a Zoot soap, which is fine too. Now, I am not a smell person. I don't like smells in my laundry. For those people that do, you do have the option of adding essential oils. So you can use lemon or lavender or eucalyptus or anything that you want to use. You can actually add that. And what you'll do is you'll add it at the last step. And I'll tell you when. So right now we have stirred all of that up. Now what we're going to do is that we're going to finish filling up this 5-gallon bucket to the top. Not the very top, but maybe till about like right there, because you don't want it to spill when you're moving this bucket. So I'm going to go ahead and fill the rest of this bucket up, and then we will finish our laundry detergent. Okay, I have filled this up to the top. I have stirred it really well, and then I'm going to put the top on, and I'm going to go down just so you can see how high that is. And the reason I give that little space at the top is because when you're stirring, that's going to rise. And so you don't want to, it's going to kind of swish around a little bit. So you don't want it to slosh out. So give yourself that little space at the top. So once again, you're going to fill it up with that. You're going to fill the 5-gallon bucket back up to the top with hot water. and then you're going to put the lid on, and you are going to leave it alone until tomorrow morning or 24 hours. So I usually make this like right after breakfast or something. I'll kind of stir it up and put it in the corner of the kitchen, and then I will come back the next morning and finish it off. And so I'm going to cover this up, and we will come back in the morning to see what to do next. And just a note on the stirring utensils that I use. You'll notice that I used a wooden spoon and a plastic stirrer to stir this. Metal, I don't typically use metal with this type of things, only because, I don't know, sometimes there's some type of reaction. And I just noticed in all of my recipes, even with soap, I'll have like in the margins of my recipes, use a wooden spoon. So my suggestion is, and I can't remember why I started doing that, but my suggestion is to use a wooden spoon to stir the soap on the stove, and to use some type of plastic utensil, something that's nice and long with a long handle, to stir this up once it's in the 5-gallon bucket. And I wanted to show you the different types of lids that are available for these 5-gallon buckets. Okay, these are the lids. The one on the left that's black, that's just a pop-on lid. And you'll see the one on the right, how it has that ribbed area. It has that ribbed area to it. And that can make it difficult to get off and on if you're not used to that, which is why I suggested everybody get like just a little simple pop-on lid. Because this one literally just pops on. You know, it's just like a little, it's like your Tupperware. It just goes on and off. So, everything is ready. I'm going to put the top on. I'm going to press it down really well. And I will set this on the corner of my kitchen until tomorrow. And then we will be back and I will show you how to finish this up. Okay, it has been 24 hours and we're going to uncover this. And I will show you what it looks like. And as you will see, it looks like a big glob of jelly, which is exactly the way you want it to look. Now, what you do with this is that you just stir it up. See how nice and clumpy that is? That's exactly what you want it to look like. And so you slowly just break this up. Now, what I usually do is that I will stick my whole arm in here and I will squish it all up. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to go ahead and stir it for you guys. And you'll see you have a lot of liquid and then that gel. Well, that gel is what's going to clean your clothes. Now, let me, a word about detergent that you make. Most places in the world, they are not obsessed with suds the way Americans are for some reason. So when you use this, do not expect to see bubbles and suds. This is not something that that does that. It doesn't like bubble up for you, but it will clean your clothes. Also, the other thing that I typically use in my washing machine is I will use vinegar as a rinse, and that helps get rid of any residue from the detergent. And the amount that you use, the original, and this is like the Duggar, I don't know if people remember the Duggar family, but this is like a little switch on the Duggar family recipe. And they typically use half a cup. I typically will use a cup because I'll do a big load. And especially if it's like really dirty clothes, like if you have a husband that has like really dirty work clothes or something, I have used up to a cup and a half depending on how dirty the clothes are. So that is kind of, you know, you have to kind of play with that a little bit. But I would start off using maybe 3/4 of a cup on a regular load for like a woman with just, you know, like mildly dirty clothes. But if it's a man with really filthy clothes, I would definitely go ahead and use a cup, maybe even a cup and a half if it's a really large load. And like I said, I will typically put my hand in here and kind of squish that gel up. It just seems to work better than stirring it. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And I just wanted to show you how I do this with my hands. I'll take a clump and just squish that up. So I'm going to go ahead and take my time and do this, and then I will be back. Okay, and this is what we're left with after we've mixed it all up. You still have some clumps, but now because that gob actually goes all the way down to the bottom of the bucket. So I just reach my hand down and I squeeze it until it's all squeezed up and just kind of incorporate it. It's not going to be smooth. You're still going to have lumps, but that is what it looks like. Now, because I'm taking this to my friend, I actually put it into a container for her. I had some leftover vinegar bottles. I typically put mine in glass, but I didn't have any for her, so she used plastic, and plastic is fine. Glass is just a preference for me. So once again, you can use half a cup if it's a if it's a smaller load, because this is a concentrated formula. So you can use half a cup if it's a small load. I would use a full cup for a full load. If it's a man with really dirty clothes, then I would probably even use like a cup and a half. As this sits, I will typically leave it in the 5-gallon bucket. I don't put it all in containers once it's done. So as it sits, it will clump up again. So you will have to kind of like reach your arm down there or use whatever you decide to use to break that clump up when you use it the next time. Like I said, I probably make this perhaps twice a year. I mean, I don't do a lot of laundry, and I usually do, and I hand wash some things, but it lasts a really long time. It's 5 gallons of detergent, and it is concentrated. So like I said, for a small load, half a cup. For a large load, I would use a half a cup, maybe 3/4 of a cup if it's not that dirty, but if it's super dirty, I would use a cup. For a man with really dirty work clothes, I would even go as far as like a cup and a half to make sure all of the dirt came out. I've never had any issues with this. I hope it helps someone, and let me know if you need additional information. Oh, and I almost forgot. For anyone who wants to add smell, like I said, I'm not a smell person, but if you want to add smell, what I would try to do, and I don't know if this works or not, but I would go ahead at this point and I would put in my essential oil when I squish up everything and mix it, and then just make sure that you remix it. Or if you put it in a container, make sure that you shake up that container before you use it to make sure that the oil is incorporated. If I find out any ways to add additional scents, I'll let you know. In my mind, I would think that it would more so be like the scent of the soap, like the lady that said that she used Irish Spring because of the smell. I would think the soap would probably give a better smell than the essential oil, but I'm not sure. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for watching my video, and you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.